Well, Chrissy, let's start.
Okay, yes, I guess the rest can just join us later. So welcome to the second Satsang with Pujan. Very nice to see. Oh, we're already more than 20 people. It's very nice. Like last week was a very huge success. We had a really, really nice discussion about how our spiritual practice can help us in these times. And yeah, for today, I would like to just, no, first of all, I want to say, I don't know if everyone is here who donated last time, but we are so overwhelmed with all your donations for the Thai and Burmese families. And we received more than 20,000 baht, which is almost 600 euro. And we'll donate this to 2 projects on the island, and we'll keep you updated about this in the next week. So just one thing about the questions today. I don't know if some people already sent questions before, but if during the satsang you feel you want to ask something to Pujan, like last time, it would be great if you could just write it in the chat, but write it to everyone, not only to Pujan. So it's good that everyone can see it, what you write. And then Nancy or me will read it out loud when it's the right time for your question. And afterwards, we will ask you to unmute your microphone so that you can clarify anything with Pujan so that the question is understood in the right way. And yeah, I think that's it. So now Pujan will say something, and afterwards, I'm happy. Afterwards, I'm happy to guide you into a little meditation, just to settle in, quieten our minds, and become concentrated and focused for the next hour.
Thank you and welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to see so many familiar faces. And it's always when I see so many friends of mine, I would like to say, oh, how are you? And what have you been doing? And so nice to see you again. But of course, this is not a chat in the normal way. And I would like, again, what Chris is saying, we were really overwhelmed. It was really beautiful the way you donated to the Burmese, and all of the money will be spent for them to fill their bellies, because it's really a difficulty here. You know, they're without a job, they can't go back to Burma, and they have no savings. So this is really something they're very happy and grateful for. So again, thank you so much for everybody who donated. Again, you can do this time. It's in the invitation. I think we changed the PayPal account. This time it's, I think, my PayPal account. You can see that on the note that you've been sent to. So thank you very much. And I thought it would be nice to start the talk with a short meditation that Chrissy will guide us into. So just for all of us to, for some of us it's the evening, for some of us it's the morning, and just to sort of relax into this talk we want to have, and stay focused as well, because on these talks it's always good to have a relatively clear mind to comprehend the sessions. So I'll and please, again, with questions, I really appreciate the questions. And I have an announcement before we start later on. So yeah, let's enjoy the evening. So Chrissy, if you can start with a meditation, and then I'll continue.
Okay, Betty, just sit up there. Okay, so please find a comfortable seating position on a chair or a cushion, so your spine can be straight. And your head and your neck are in one straight line with your spine. Draw your shoulders up to your ears and bring them back and down. And just take one deep inhale and exhale through your mouth. And release all the tension. Just arrive in this moment. And no matter how long or short your day has been yet, just leave the day or the morning behind. Become aware of the shape of your body. Feel how your bottom is touching the ground. How you're connected to the earth. Notice any sounds in your surrounding. Don't label them. Be aware of your current state. How does your body feel? What's the state of your mind? And let everything be as it is. Visualize yourself sitting in this very moment. And now start slowly turning your senses inside and become aware of your body from inside. This energy field within. Relax your face. Relax your eyes. Keep your mouth a little open so your jaw can relax. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms, your hands. Be aware of the movement of your belly. Release all the tension from your belly. Become soft. Relax your pelvic area. Relax your legs and your feet. Relax your whole body. And you sit stable and rooted and light at the same time. You can put a little smile on your face. Rest in the moment. And now draw your awareness to the breath in your nose. Feel the soft sensation with every in and exhale. Observe the breath. And every time thoughts come up, be aware that you're thinking and decide not to go into the stories. There's enough time after your meditation. Be aware of the thought and let it go. And always come back to your breath. And relax your breath. Let it become softer. Relax your body. Keep your face relaxed, your shoulders. And go deeper as your breath becomes softer. Let your breath relax and your mind relax. Keep coming back to your anchor, the breath in your nostrils. Take one deep inhale and exhale through your mouth. And slowly count from 10 to 1 in your own time. And no matter where you are, bring your awareness now to the feeling of your legs on the floor. Feel how you're connected to the earth. Slowly draw your senses outside. Notice any sounds. Notice the taste in your mouth. And visualize the room around you. And now bring your hands in front of your chest. Say Namaste. And thank yourself for taking the time, just being with yourself, some minutes in the presence of your awareness. Thank you. You can open your eyes when you feel ready.
Pujan, du musst dein Mikrofon anmachen. Ja.
Okay, you hear me now?
Yes.
You hear me now? Hello? Yeah? Yeah,
Yes.
good, good, good.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, I start again. I would like some feedback from you. I'm planning to do a philosophy immersion, let's say it this way, where we maybe, for 5 weeks, once a week, as a group, as a committed group, go deeper into the philosophy and talk more face to face as well. So make it a little bit more personal. Because I always find it difficult to do these satsangs with some of my students who have been with me for many years, who sort of know the basics of Vedanta, and then quite a few people who are very new to the subject. And I really think it would be an advantage to go with some of you who would like to know more and go deeper into the subject in a committed 5-week session. And I would like to know if some of you are interested in it. And if enough people are interested in it, I would like to offer that. It won't. It's by donation only, so everybody will be able to do it. And the only thing I would ask, if you would like to join me, is that you get my book from the website, because this is really the introduction to Vedanta. And if you sort of have it and you can read it, then we can progress on the path much faster. So if you're interested, just send me a note. And I think the best email would be swpujan@gmail.com. SW means Swami, but without any points. So one word, svpujan@gmail.com. So if I have a few people who are interested, then I would like to introduce that, sort of a forum for us to go deeper into the philosophy, to share a bit more, and so on. So please let me know. But now I would like to go to one of my favorite Upanishads, the Katha Upanishad. And it's always good to start sort of with a text, and then we go deeper into the text, and then all these other questions come up again. And like I said before, I'm always happy for questions. And I promise you that I will have a look at the questions. And last time there were quite a few questions left over. So I'm sorry about that. I don't want to go too much over time either, because I know even though most of us are in lockdown, we still have things to do. So I want to keep with this 90-minute time frame. Okay. The Katha Upanishad is quite unique. It starts with a father who, and let's don't forget, the story is, maybe 2,500 years old, probably even older. So in the ancient days in India, there was a ritual, a fire ritual, and the idea was to please the gods, and in order to go to heaven, and the Indians have 7 heavens, so depending how good you were, you can go into a very high heaven. And one of the ways for that fire ceremony was that you throw everything into the fire and then you start again. So everything you have, you give as an offering. And then you get good karma, and you get in one of those high 7 heavens. So that's the idea, or was the idea. So this father was doing it, but he was quite wealthy, but he was a little bit cunning as well. In these days, and still with a lot of people, cows were the wealth of somebody. So if you were very wealthy, you had a lot of cows. And he had a lot of cows too, but he only sacrificed the cows who didn't have enough milk and who were a drag anyway. And the good cows, he kept aside. I mean, I'm sure these days people would do that as well. But his son, who, let's say he was young, some would say he was 5 years old. I don't think so. Let's make him 10 years old. So quite inquisitive, and his mind was already, relatively, well, in this case, very sharp. So he saw that his father was cheating. And he said to his father, okay, you sacrifice everything. Will you sacrifice me as well? Where will you send me? And the father was very annoyed. He said, shut up, shut up, shut up. But this little boy asked the second time, to whom will you give me? Do you sacrifice me as well? To whom do you send me? And he again said, if you have children, you know what it is. He said, shut up, shut up. And when the boy for the third time said, where will you send me? He says, I will send you to hell. I sent you to hell. Well, sort of in a way like, shut up. But in this story, the boy said, oh, you sent me to the devil. Yes, I sent you to the devil. He said, okay, I'm going. And he packed his bag and went to the devil. Yama is his name. And the boy's name is Nachiketa, Nachiketa. So he went to the devil, to Yama, but Yama wasn't home. The devil has a lot of work to do, so he was all over the place. So Nachiketa was just sitting there and waiting. Didn't eat anything, didn't drink anything. He was just sitting there waiting for 3 days. Finally, Yama came back, and he saw this little boy sitting there. And Yama said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm a really bad host, to let you sit there without food and without drink. I'm so sorry." He was a polite Yama, and he said, I'll give you 3 boons. I give you 3 wishes. So because I'm feeling so guilty that you sit there, I give you 3 wishes. Okay. The first wish the boy said was quite cunning, or quite, intelligent, you could say. He said, the first wish is, when I come back to my father, make sure that he's not angry that I left him. He's probably worried I'm gone for 3 days. So the first thing is let him not be worried when I come back. And that was actually quite intelligent, because not many people come back visiting the devil, visiting death. So in order for him to get this boon, this wish, he made sure that he can come back again to his parents or to his father. The devil says, Yama says, no problem. Okay, when you go back, your father will be happy to see you. Okay, that was the first one. The second one he said, look, I saw my father doing this fire ceremony, and it didn't really feel right. Can you teach me the right way to do a fire ceremony, so that people doing it properly and not avoiding things or hiding things? And Yama said, yeah, I can. That's a good idea. I can do that. I can teach you the proper way to do a fire ceremony. And he said, well, I'm very pleased, that you're interested in that, because, not many young boys are interested to learn the right thing. So after he taught him that, he said, I'm so proud of you. I'll give even this fire ceremony, I give it your name, Nachiketa fire ceremony. Okay, so now the third boon, now the third wish. And the boy said, look, I mean, here I am. I mean, you are the authority. You are Yama. I want to know what happens after death. I want to know who I am, what this life is all on about. And Yama was quiet for the moment. Then he said, ask me another question. Yeah. And he asked another question. I asked for another wish. And the boy says, no. Why would I? No, this is what I want to know. I want to know what happens after death, because I know that death is happening. And then, of course, Yama said to him, well, look, I can give you abilities that you can be a good musician. I can give you a lot of money. I can, later on, I can give you dancing girls. I don't know if you knew about them, but I give you everything you want. Don't ask that. But the boy said, and of course now we go into the philosophy, he says, one thing is for sure, I'm going to die, and everything else you want to offer me will disappear with death. Yeah. And then he cheekily said, you can have all these dancing girls and you can have all the money. I'm not interested in that. I want to know who I am. Well, so Yama said, okay, what can I do? So the third wish will be that I fulfill you this. And then the proper teaching happened. So I think the whole sort of how the story builds up is quite fascinating. A little boy talks to the devil or to death, to Yama, and now gets the teaching. Okay, so in this and actually then Yama said, I'm really impressed with you, because I can see that you have the two qualities that are needed in order to understand the truth. And one is, in Sanskrit, it's called viveka. And that is a discrimination between what is helpful and what is not helpful. Or Yama said, what is good and what is pleasant. So he chose, what was the little boy choose to know what happens after death, but the devil wanted to give him everything that's pleasant. And he says, no, I'm not interested in these pleasant things. I want to know the truth. So this discrimination between good and pleasant, between what is true and what is only apparently true, the boy already had at a very young age, and he was very determined. I mean, imagine you with 10 years old and somebody, you know, offers you all the riches in the world and you say, no, I don't want this. You know, I want to know who I am. So he was a very high qualified soul. And the other one was Viragya. Viragya is another one of those qualifications in Vedanta, and that is dispassion. Now, dispassion actually means that whatever happens, whatever sort of appears, you take it in a way as a gift, as a prasad. You don't get totally upset about it. You don't freak out about it. You just see that this is existence. You can't do anything about it. Huh? You take what comes and in a karma yoga attitude. So when something negative happens, you're not totally thrown out. And when something quite positive happens, you're not totally spaced out. So these two qualities this boy had already. So he was ready to receive the teaching. So choosing the good and not the pleasant. And then in the Katha Upanishad, now a very important, a very famous, you could say even a visualization about our true nature Yama gives to the boy. And he talks about horses and a carriage. So if you remember, you know, maybe in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, there's a chariot, there's a charioteer, and there are horses. So just get this image, you know. That was, of course, the image 2,500 years ago. Maybe we would have now used a different image. But then Yama said, okay, just imagine there are 5 horses, and these 5 horses represent your senses. So these 5 horses, your 5 senses, with your 5 sense organs. Yeah, and we know our 5 senses. You know, we have smell, and that's the nose. We have taste, that's the tongue. We have eyes, that's that's seeing. We have sensations on our skin, so that's the skin that gets sensations. And we have the ears that hear. So these are the 5 horses. But the 5 horses are held in a rein. You know? Every horse has something around, and there's a rein, and they're held together. So what does the rein represent? Well, the rein represents our mind. And it represents actually manas. Manas, which I explain in a moment, it's different to the general explanation of in the West, where the mind is everything. In our example, the mind is really our emotions and our feelings. And this rein is held by the charioteer. So the guy who's actually holding the whole carriage. So the guy holds the carriage, and he can determine where the 5 senses are going. And what is he representing? Thinking? Well, no. Yes, it's our intellect. Yeah? So our intellect is the one who holds the reins and can direct and control our senses. The carriage is actually a symbol of our body, because obviously our body has to go where our senses go and so on. And then there is a guy sitting in the back of the chariot. Sorry, there's a guy sitting in the back. So who could this guy be? And he's very relaxed. He's just watching the whole show, very chilled. Well, that's awareness. That's you. That's the self. So here we go. 5 wild horses hold together with a rein, a charioteer who holds the rein, the chariot, and the guy who relaxes in the back. Okay. So get this vision. Now, how do we deal with that? How do we manage that? How do we manage, for example, the 5 wild horses? And if we can just put a pause button here, I would like to refer to a book I just recently read, and I really like it. I read a little bit of positive psychology these days, and I'm quite fascinated how Western psychology is meeting, really, in a way, Vedanta. So I read this book. It's called The Happiness I always say it wrong. Hypothesis. I think it's called hypothesis. It's when you see it in a bookshop, it's quite popular. It has this big smiley face on, this yellow smiley face, and it's by Jonathan Haidt. Anyway, what is he saying? He's saying that he's first asking a question. I think this question I had myself, and I'm sure quite a few people, quite a few who are listening now have that question as well. How come I read all these books, I do all these spiritual workshops and practices, and they don't last? I finish a book and it sounds so great, and then I forget about it, or then I'm not doing it. Yeah? Because think about this. If you read a book, The 7 Steps to Happiness, I think there is a book like this, and you read it, why are you not permanently happy afterwards? Why do you have to get the next book of Deepak Chopra or whoever writes it? Yeah. The power of now. Sorry, I always like to hammer Eckhart, but yeah, you read it, just be in the present moment. Oh yes, of course. Yeah? There is no past and future. Of course. Just be here now, and you read the book and you are now here. And then you close the book, and a friend of mine said, oh, I read Eckhart Tolle, I'm nearly enlightened. Yeah. And then how long does it last? Huh? Then you say, I have to go to a workshop. Then you do the workshop, and you come back from the workshop. You are so amazed. You have this smile on your face, and you think, I got it. And you tell everybody they should do the workshop as well, till it fades away. Does it sound familiar? I once did a workshop, not at the beginning of a workshop, and he said to us, write down everything you've done for spiritual growth. Write down every book you read, write down every workshop you've done, write down every teacher you listen to, and these days I would say, every YouTube talk or whatever. And of course, it became a long list, and it was quite frustrating, actually, So how come? Because when we do it, it makes absolutely sense. Or if it's a good book, of course. Okay, now, this guy in his book, The Happiness Hypothesis. Now I got it. Hypothesis. He said, okay, imagine an elephant. Yeah, big elephant, and you sitting on the elephant. So if you can visually see this, there's this big elephant and you sitting on top, and you going with this elephant, and on the right side the elephant sees bananas, and you want to go on the left side. Well, what do you think where the elephant will go? Well, I tell you, the elephant will go right to the bananas. You can do whatever you want to. The elephant will not listen to you. of course, the elephant represents your body. Because our body actually has an intelligence as well. Your intellect might say, yes, I want to meditate in the morning because meditation is so good for me. That you say that the night before. And then, well, the alarm clock actually rings. And then the elephant in you, the body, says, oh, come on. I'd rather turn around. I mean, tomorrow, today is really not a good day. It's, and then you turn around and that was it. You can put meditation to yoga. I want to do yoga practice every morning. I mean, a very well-known yoga teacher, she's teaching for so many years. She wrote to me and she said, look, I find it still so difficult in the morning to do my regular practice. And this is somebody who is, practicing already for so long. How come? It's good for you, but you cannot tame the elephant. So that's the body that has a different intelligence. It doesn't really listen to your intellect. What another different intelligence has your tongue. Eating, your tongue. I have a good example in my life. I really wanted to make an effort to stop sugar. I mean, in excess, you always have some sugar. But I liked, in my cappuccino, I always liked sugar. Yeah. Brown sugar, of course, because the brown sugar is healthy. Well, and I like how the sugar sort of curled through the milk, and then the taste. And then I said, no, I don't want to. I stopped the sugar. And the coffee tastes terrible. It was bitter and everything. And then I drank it again without sugar. Then I drank it again without sugar. And now I cannot drink coffee with sugar. I think it tastes terrible. My tongue got used to it. So this is already the key of taming the elephant. Or for the elephant, you can put your puppy, How do you train it? Through habit. Through habit. Through continuous doing what needs to be done. So you wake up in the morning and you just do it. I say it before, all the people who were with me in teacher trainings, just do it. What Nike says. And you can train your tongue, you can train your body through constant practice. This is how you manage the horses in this case, your senses who go all over the place through habitual positive actions. And I'm sure quite a lot of you will have done this already. Because the good thing is with these habitual things, once you actually doing them, they become habitual in itself, and you're missing them if you don't do them. You miss not doing your meditation. You miss not doing your yoga. And I cannot drink my cappuccino with sugar now. So yeah. So this is how you train the body. Okay. Now we have the mind, the reins, because this is your mind. This is your feelings and this is your emotions. How do you train them? Well, the name gives it away. The mind, manas in this case, it's called in Sanskrit, manas. You train through mindfulness. So here meditation comes in, mindfulness. And again, mindfulness is the same thing. You have to repeat it to do it, and more you become more and more mindful, and you train the mind. So here now you have your senses under control, your mind under control, and now you have the charioteer, and that is your intellect. Now the problem here is ignorance. So the charioteer doesn't actually know where he wants to go. He is ignorant of the direction he wants to take. So how do we go about ignorance? Obviously through knowledge. And this is in Vedanta, it's very important that you just need the right understanding. That's all you need. Only your intellect needs to be convinced in a way. But through our habitual patterns in our lives, in our upbringing and so on, we always look out rather than in. And we need, our mind needs to be sharpened with logic and with information in order to go from ignorance to knowledge. This is the whole path of Vedanta. We are saying everything else is really helpful. It is helpful to have an open heart. It is helpful to have a strong physical body. It is helpful to be mindful, to have a strong meditation practice. But in the end, you need a mind that understands that you are already the self. There is nothing you need to do in order to be who you already are. So this is what the intellect, the rider of the horse, needs to understand. And the guy in the back, that is actually you, watching the whole show. This is the awareness that is aware of all the drama that is happening there. And this is in a nutshell the lesson of, well, we come back to this again and again from many different angles. This is the teaching, that is the strategy. So coming back to the senses, it's through habitual patterns that we choose the good rather than the pleasurable. We have mindfulness. Meditation is the key for that. We have knowledge. We understand the unexamined logic of our own being, and then we come to who we truly are. You see, this guy in the back, once you know who you are, the chariot is still going. If you're in a physical body, all this is still happening. But the guy in the back is not concerned about this. He probably has even a little half smile, said, wow, what a show. Something like that. Okay, so I put a little pause in here and just see if there are any questions. Are there? Amrita, you're in. You have a question, Amrita. Where is she? I don't know where she is. Amrita is gone. Okay. So, okay, no questions at the moment. So, I'm just thinking where we want to go now. Good. So let me then just give you in another sort of way of explaining what I explained before. I want to sort of give this very well-known example of another explanation of who we are and what the world is. And one example that is often used is this example with a rope and the snake. Now, this is it is so difficult to talk facts about something that is quite mysterious. So using these examples helps a lot. So this is the well-known tale of somebody going in the twilight and sees something in front of him, and he sees a snake. So he jumps back, trembles, and just stands there. Yeah, and he's very afraid. And other people, I'll just make the story a little bit bigger. Other people come now as well and see the snake, you know, and they're all standing there and discussing about what to do with the snake. You know, wow, you know, there's the snake rolled up. What can we do about this? Do we maybe stick, or maybe somebody is there and thinks it's a particular black snake, you know, maybe quite rare or very poisonous. So they're standing there discussing this snake. But everybody sort of stands back and is quite afraid, till somebody with, the Bhagavad Gita says, with steady wisdom, or a wise person comes along and says, why are you afraid? You know? And they say, it's a snake, it's a snake. And they said, no, it's not a snake. It's a rope that's coiled up and it looks like a snake. Now, even though you heard it before, some of you maybe, but just think about this. How real is the snake? Well, the snake is actually real for a moment before your ignorance got lifted. It was very real. You stepped there, you discussed, all the people there discussing about the snake. Yeah, there was fear. You know, your body responded as if it was the real snake. You know, you might be sweating. So you can't say the snake was not real. So we call it actually that the snake was a upadi. Upadi is, to explain upadi, it's actually quite important. We go a little bit deeper today in the philosophy. If you have questions, please ask. So we say an upadi is like you have a crystal, a clear crystal, and you have a red flower behind the crystal. And suddenly the crystal looks orange or red. If it's a red flower, it's red. But is the crystal red? No, the crystal took the color from the rose. Yeah. So this taking the quality of something that isn't real, we call an upadi. There's probably an English word for it. Yeah, of course, it's superimposition. It's a superimposition. So in this case, this rope, yeah? But to a certain extent, till you realize it wasn't. And then, of course, what about all these arguments about the snake? You know, they all look pretty silly. You know, it all dissolved. And things could be seen as it is. And of course, you know, the true Vedanta person says, well, not even the rope exists. You know, it all comes out of you. But this is a very higher understanding. But this superimposition we do all the time. Another example, maybe easier to see, slightly different. It is a pot and clay, a clay pot. So you have a clay pot, and I say clay pot, I mean, we have a pot. Yeah? You just see a pot, but it's made out of clay. Yeah. So the clay, can it be without the pot? Well, the clay can be without the pot, but can the pot be without the clay? No, of course not. Yeah? The pot is just a name we give this particular form. It is always clay. You can make a cup out of it. You can make all of this out of it, but underneath, it's clay. And the last one is gold. You know, you have rings, you have necklaces, and everything, and we say, well, this is a necklace, this is a ring, but really we can melt it all down together and it's gold. And why is this relevant? because under everything we do is consciousness. Consciousness comes out in different forms, in different ways, but underneath is always the same consciousness. And that in these forms, we give it nama rupa, we call it names and forms. But it's neither of that. Underneath that, but we never see it. Yeah? When you see a pot, you don't see the clay. When you see the necklace, you're not aware that it's just gold. When you see a table, you call it table, but really it's just wood, isn't it? It's just wood. So we use this example to see that existence is just consciousness, bring it coming out in different forms. Okay, now I hope I give you something to think about. And somebody, Christina, Christina, where are you? Where are you? There you are. Can you explain? Can you maybe? Can you?
Yeah, I read it out. Yes, I was just thinking. You have like all these examples of like the rope and the pots, but how does that relate to like our daily life, like in relationships, like when we also superimpose like stories on people we meet and we make them, for us they are a certain way, but maybe in reality they are someone else. And yeah, this also is sometimes can be very unconscious. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, of course, of course. So the question she wrote there, I'm sure a few of you will be interested in it. Can you maybe explain how this relates to relationships, how we superimpose stories on a person? I mean, in your question is already the answer. You know, we superimpose stories onto somebody that has nothing to do with them. It is your own superimposition, your projection. The stories are added on to the person. And it's added on through your own conditionings, you might say. Maybe, you know, how you choose a partner. Maybe you're interested in big and muscly men, you know, because you feel a little bit insecure and you like this sort of strong person that gives you security that you don't feel within yourself. Or you go for the sensitive type, you know, the sensitive new age man, maybe, you know. This is your projection, yeah, your whole filter you bring towards the other. Or why do you choose this man, Chrissy, or not, and not that man? I mean, really, there shouldn't be any. I mean, you know, I'm not saying don't make any choices, but think about this. From a tantric point of view, a male is a male and a female is a female. And each one is just a door into the divine. It's a yin and the yang. And that's why in old tantric rituals, when they use the left-hand part of yoga, there was no choosing. The master just said, this is the woman and this is the man, and you will be together. Because these choices we make are very random. It's just out of our projection. And if it's not our relationship, we can see this in people as well. People are the way they are. Yeah? And we're all very similar. You know, I mean, we all want the same thing. We want to have security, we want to be loved, and so on. So all the other stories are an imposition onto the person. And love is really taking it all away. This is unconditional love, is seeing somebody without the story. That's not easy. That takes time. But that needs to be done in order for you know, love to grow, and in order to really look into each other's eyes. This takes time. Does it answer your question? Good, good. Okay. Didn't I confuse you enough? Okay. But at least give me some feedback if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't want to talk against a wall.
Okay, there was just a new question
From Alex.
by
Yes.
Alex. Can you explain thoughts as objects more deeply?
Okay, now,
So
thank you.
maybe
Alex.
I will unmute Alex so he can explain a bit more.
You want to go deeper with the question, but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, just through our satsangs, that thoughts and emotions are just objects that they're not seen in this physical 3D material reality, but they still have an energetic frequency, which I suppose pulls us around on the chariot.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Even though we might understand that a thought and an emotion is just an object, it still can hurt. Yeah. But you know that the pain that this creates is a pain that will that comes out of ignorance, out of conditioning, probably out of karma, and it will go away. You see, when you know who you are, it doesn't mean that you don't experience any pain. Yeah, it is just that you understand it for what it is, and you create a certain separation. You can say, I observe the thought, and I observe the pain in my body or in my heart. I observe the tears that are happening, even though you know that it's not real. Even an enlightened being that might walk on a poorly lit road and see something might step back. Yeah, it's still in the first moment he might still see a snake if it's a rope. It doesn't disappear, but the separation happens. So it doesn't really concern you for forever. The pain is there, but the pain is only continuous because you feed it. You give that pain energy. You think about this. You know, it's because of this, it's because of that, it's because of this, it's because of that, and so then the pain grows. But it's just an object. It's just something that you are aware of. And that's the beauty once you stand in your center. These things cannot really ultimately affect you. Not that you're dead, you know, there's still the pain and physically as well. I remember when I thought I lost my passport the day I wanted to leave. You know, I mean, it felt like whoa, and I was really amazed how it felt in my body, even though it was just a thought. You know, where is my passport? But then deep breath. You know, that's you know. So you create this separation, understanding that thoughts and emotions just arising, but you are the watcher of them. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Good. Chamomile. Okay, I always say chamomile. Camille. Why do we try and resist change so much? Oh yes. Well, the simple answer is, so why we resist change? You know, why a lot of us are afraid of change? Well, at the very bottom, of course, it's fear. You know, there's no question. And what fear is it? There is really, when you go down each fear you have, it's the fear of death. And change can actually bring this fear up. Because there is an apparent security in the situations that you're in. But as we now learned from the coronavirus, and that's the first time I mentioned it, is things can change radically. You know, one day of another, I was doing my trip here to Australia, and I'm still here. You know, you might have planned things. You know, people are stuck in Thailand. You know, they want to go to who knows. Everything is boom, and that only brings us to the realization of insecurity. And change, of course, has the flavor of insecurity, because a change means that which you know will not be there anymore, and which will come, you don't know. So there is a gap between the known and the unknown. That gap is actually where growth happens. That gap, we call it chaos in a way, because there's no security in that gap from the old to the new. We just don't know. Yeah. And sometimes it's quite dramatic, you know. I mean, when you finish a relationship, yeah, you cannot imagine actually finding a new partner. You know, you will be in that gap, and there is fear, there's unknown, or you quit a job, you know, and you don't have a new job. In that gap between the old and the new, there is confusion, there is chaos. And who likes that? Who likes to be secure, or who can be secure in insecurity? That is really why we don't like it. Camille, you're with me? Yep, good. You can unmute and just sort of say yes or no or something like that. Or you can do the thumbs up. Good. Thanks, Camille. Okay. Oh, Jenny, the story about the snake. Yes. Okay. I always like that story with the snake, because you can see it in so many different ways. This is not what we're talking about. What we'll talk about, if people are interested to go deeper, we talk about Maya. This whole creation, that there's suddenly a snake and we are afraid and we take it for real, is actually Maya. The delusion, the illusion of this world to be real. And we often use this example. You know? It looks like a snake, it looks real, but it is actually Maya. Amrita, do you want to explain it? Do you want to tell us? Does she hear me? Anyway, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You want to read out your question, Amrita?
It's actually from me.
All right, Andrew.
So it is said that when you attain enlightenment, you are free from the wheel of reincarnation. Is it actually more like reincarnation still takes place after you die, but we no longer identify as the reincarnating entity? Is that a more accurate way of putting it? Or so because we know that we're the charioteer,
yeah,
we don't, you know, the horse and the reins are still reincarnating, but that was my question.
Okay, good. Thanks, Andrew. The thing is, why do we actually want to come back? You know? I mean, yes, you might say, oh, because I want to see my children, you know, getting, I don't know. Yeah, so there might be some superficial reasons, but really, why do you want to come back? To put it simply, to fulfill your unfulfilled desires. Yeah. If you still haven't really resolved life's question mark of who am I, how life works, you will die with a desire to finish what you started. And this can be as simple as fights with people. You know, if you say to somebody, I'll never forgive and I never forget, well, that's a good reason for reincarnation. Or just all these desires we have when we die. Oh, I wish I would have. I wish I could have. All of that. Yeah. So it's actually our desiring that brings us back into this body. And here in this life, we will work out our karma. Karma is really unfulfilled stuff from the past. But once you know who you are, once you sit in the driver's seat and let the horses run and all of that, you don't care anymore. Why would you go back? You know who you are. The next life will be as silly as this one. I mean, there's nothing for you to achieve anymore. When you know who you are out of the wheel of samsara. So there is actually no reincarnation. The only exception, and who knows, the only exceptions are the Tibetans, who say in the Mahayana, Tibetans and in the Mahayana Buddhism, that you can be a bodhisattva. That means you have so much compassion that you want to go back and help humanity. So you die with this desire that you want to help. Yeah, I don't know how that really works, but that's what the Mahayana and the Tibetan Buddhists are saying. You are enlightened, but you're desiring of helping mankind, you don't say mankind, humankind, brings you back. Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Or any more feedbacks? No? Good. Okay. So what I encourage is this. You know that the three stages in Vedanta is the hearing, just listening, and then the questioning. The question is quite important, just to clarify things, because this understanding of our known dual nature is really not easy to grasp. We in Vedanta are saying that there is actually only consciousness. And if there's only consciousness, then what is life? You see, there are few major ways to see reality. There is the way of the religions, particularly Christianity and Muslims and Judaism, who see there is a God as a creator, and there is the creation. Yeah, God as the creator, and then there's the creation, separate. There is the way of yoga, the Yoga Sutras, where Patanjali says there is Purusha and there is Prakriti. There is the still point, Purusha, and then there is the movement. Everything else is movement. That's Prakriti. But they never meet. Yeah, they're like two railway lines that going together. And then there is Vedanta, of course, that says, well, there is not there are not these two lines going together. It's actually only consciousness, and out of consciousness evolves existence. And actually, I forgot the fourth. Science are actually saying that out of matter, existence was created. It's still the view held by most of the science, that there was matter, there was a brain, there was something, and somehow, they still don't know how, consciousness came out of matter. But for us Vedantas, that doesn't make sense, because nothing can come out of nothing. But out of consciousness, out of awareness, things can grow. So we are saying everything comes out of consciousness. Christianity says God, you could say, God created. It can be two parallel lines that never meet, but very close, but never meet, or that existence came out of, that matter came out of consciousness. So these are the four areas. Good. So, oh yeah, Vivi, I'm sorry, I missed the beginning. Consciousness is like the opposing thumb. I don't know what you mean. Can you clarify this, Vivi? I don't hear a word you're saying. Okay, that's no. I don't. You have to press the button there. That's.
Okay. So yeah, I unmuted her. Now she can.
Yeah,
You must
okay.
hear her.
Yeah, Vivi. I still don't hear her. And her hand is. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't want to be seen. I don't know. Yeah, this is technology. We're all getting used to it. You are probably much more familiar with it than I am. So, but it is a way of connection. This is actually quite nice.
So I have a question. Can you be a bodhisattva several times or just once?
Wow. I don't know. I would say only once, but I don't even know if that's possible. I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not a Mahayana Buddhist, and I don't really want to make speculations.
I thought you would come back and help me getting enlightened, if not in this life, then in a few other ones.
Well, Betty, okay. Well, let's see what I can do. Betty is my wife, if you don't know our story. Yeah. Amrita, I know people are the self, but sometimes it's hard to see the self through their ignorance. How do you achieve that? Through their ignorance. Yes, you had last week a similar question. I think you must really struggle with that. Well, they are the self. Everybody, what you're looking around is just you in a different form. That is, even though that is the highest teaching. Let's step one step back. To say love everybody is quite simply not possible for most of us. One way of softening the blow, you might say, or one way of softening your reaction to somebody else is put yourself into their shoes. See the situation from their point of view, and that can often help lessening the buildup of resistance that you have within yourself, because then you can see that this person obviously maybe is suffering or has a lot of guilt or a lot of anger that was triggered not by you but by something else or someone else. But this frustration is of course something you need to look within yourself, Amrita. There is this it's never the other all the time. It is you. Everything around you is unfortunately or fortunately a reflection of yourself, because there is only the self. This is the hard thing in duality, known duality. We cannot We cannot escape that. But there are different levels of understanding. There are some teachers who only talk from the highest point of known dual reality. Well, that is easy in a way. It is much harder, the nitty-gritty of everyday living. And like I said, one way of diffusing that is go into their skin and see where they're coming from. And like I said the last time, if you avoid them if you can, don't try to help them. Avoid a conflict because you will never be able to change them. Move away from them. Okay, I hope that clarifies a little bit. Oh, Sylvia, probably from Indonesia. Pujan, what you're talking about sounds like quantum physics. Yeah, when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. Yes, very good. It's true. It's true. Quantum physics comes closer and closer to Vedanta. Quantum physics is really quite amazing. Where they haven't made the jump yet is who is the one who is exploring quantum physics. There is still a duality there. It's a scientific exploration, which is great, and really it helps spirituality too. It helps Vedanta tremendously because it makes illogical things much more logical. For example, the fact that nothing is solid, everything is changing, everything dissolves actually into vibration and so on. It's a fantastic field. I'm a bit too dumb to go deeper into quantum physics because it is, mind-blowing. I stay with Vedanta, but I really encourage people, if you're interested in that and you have the mind to wrap yourself around it, it's really worthwhile getting into it. Tiffany, Tiffy, yes, I saw you somewhere. How do we understand the role of ego in all? Oh, yes, in all of this. When is ego healthy and not healthy, considering we understand who we are, that we are all just the same, consciousness, the sameness. Tiffy, can you just say that to me again? What you mean with that? Can you talk? Yes.
I hope I understand my own question.
Yeah. What should I say? Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's been answered already, but just like sometimes when I arrive at the point where I really feel, not just think, I'm like, oh yeah, we all are just the same. We all want the same things. Then sometimes, this is probably a little too dramatic, but I get into this mindset of like, well, then what's the point? Why do I need to be different? Why do I need to go out and like promote myself, or, like what's the point of competition and like getting ahead and like putting my stuff out there? I don't know if people can relate to this, but like, yeah, how do you reconcile with that when we already have the understanding that we're all just the same and we all want the same things? So like, when is ego healthy and when is it, I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Now it can be misunderstood, yes, and often in a spiritual growth, when people sort of go through spiritual phases, it can happen quite often that you say, what the fuss, I mean, I don't want to have anything to do with anything anymore, and I'm not in control, and all of that. But and this is where people become sannyasins. For example, in India, you can do that. You can say, oh, it's all illusion, I'm not doing anything. And then they sit on the road or sitting in an ashram and actually give up all doing. But this is not something we can choose. We have to be in the world, but let the world and worldly things not touch us. But we are still in the world. But you don't have to be competitive in the world. You just do the best you can. You know? In fact, competition really makes you have anxiety. When you want to be better than somebody, or you think you're worse than somebody, then that creates anxiety. You do it, and this is where karma yoga comes in. You do it the best you can. You know? And that anxiety can come to a point where you're afraid to do anything. You know? A healthy ego is actually, what's the saying? Change what you can change and know what you can't change. Acceptance of who you are, the groundness that you are the way you are, and you are the best version of yourself. You cannot be any different. That doesn't mean you're not competing, you're just yourself, and that is enough. And we have to be in the world. So yes, play the game, but don't make it personal. Do what you do and then sit back. Yeah. There's of course much more to say about the ego, and actually we can maybe do this even next time, the creation of the ego and what it is and so on. But I want to leave it at the moment like this. Yeah. Now I have one more question here. Jenny, a question about avoiding the conflict because we cannot change people. Aren't the conflicts there to learn lessons? Yes. I don't think there's anybody who says, oh, bring on the conflicts because I'm on a learning journey. Yeah, please, more conflicts. I don't think there's anybody who says that. Yes, conflict. Of course, every change can teach us something. Conflicts, yes, can teach us something. And why make it a conflict? Life teaches you something every moment. Every moment. Yeah. You don't necessarily have a conflict. You necessarily don't need a conflict to learn. But of course, conflicts arise, and how you respond to them hopefully will be a valuable lesson. Not many people learn out of their conflicts. They do the same thing again and again, because they don't learn. But yes, otherwise, a person with a lot of experience has done a lot of shit in their lives, because they solved a lot of conflicts, Yeah. It's true. We learn from conflicts when we go consciously into them. But do you go consciously into a conflict? Well, maybe when you come out, you reflect on it. But the problem is we go into conflicts, we busily try to solve conflicts, and then we're going out, we say, oh, that's great. And then we go into another one without really learning the lessons. But if we are willing to learn the lessons, yes, great. That's true. Okay, and Chrissy, last question coming from Facebook. Pavel. Oh, hello, Pavel. As you are already aware, is it possible to bypass all these thoughts and feelings that pass through us on a daily basis? I know, Pavel, you want to bypass them, but there is no way to bypass thoughts. I mean, how do you bypass a thought? Yeah. The only way is not identifying with the thought. It's noticing the thought. Oh, there it is. But then you don't feed it, meaning you don't put oil on it. You just, and this is where meditation comes in, or centering comes in. You come back to the present moment. You sit here and a thought comes, oh my God, I don't know what will happen tomorrow. Stop it, come back here. Is it a problem right now? No, it's a problem for tomorrow. Well, has tomorrow arrived? No. So come back. You cannot avoid it. So it's only through your anchoring that you can deal with them. Okay, now I'll have to finish, and I enjoyed it again. So can I just remind you to swpujan@gmail.com if you're interested in going in a more personalized, deeper exploration into Vedanta. Just write me a note just to see. I don't want to offer something where there is no interest. Yeah. So let me know. Have a great day, and thank you so much. And if you want to donate to the Burmese, that would be great. Thank you for the donations that already happened. We'll have a great feast for them. It was so generous. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I hope to see you again. All the best. Namaste. Namaste to you all. Namaste.